Let me ask you something honestly. When was the last time you woke up and said, "Today I choose to be happy"? Not because everything was perfect, but despite everything being imperfect. Most people wake up and check their phone. Some check their problems. Very few check their mindset. And that is where happiness begins. Close your eyes for a moment and think about this simple question. When did happiness become so complicated? As children, we smiled without reasons. As adults, we wait for reasons to smile. Somewhere along the journey, we forgot that happiness was never meant to be found outside. It was always meant to be practiced inside. Most of us wake up every day carrying invisible weights. The weight of expectations, the weight of comparisons, the weight of unfinished dreams. And then we wonder why our heart feels tired even before the day begins. The truth is, life does not exhaust us, our thoughts do. What we repeatedly tell our minds slowly becomes our reality. Happiness is not something you stumble upon accidentally. It is something you choose deliberately, every single day. You must gently push yourself towards it. Not aggressively, not forcefully, but consciously. Just like brushing your teeth keeps your body healthy, choosing positive thoughts keeps your mind healthy. You don't wait to feel motivated to brush your teeth, you simply do it. In the same way, you don't wait to feel happy to act happy, you act in a way that invites happiness. Many people say, "I'll be happy when my problems are solved." But life smiles and says, problems are part of the syllabus. There is no chapter called Life Without Challenges. Peace does not come from the absence of problems, it comes from the presence of perspective. When your perspective changes, the same situation that once drained you can start teaching you. We often underestimate the power of small habits. A few minutes of silence in the morning. A few moments of gratitude before sleeping. A pause before reacting in anger. These small practices slowly train the mind to remain balanced. Happiness grows quietly, not loudly. It grows when you stop arguing with reality and start flowing with it. Comparison is one of the biggest reasons people feel unhappy today. We compare our real life with someone else's edited version and then feel inadequate. But remember this, flowers don't compete with each other, they simply bloom. The moment you focus on becoming a better version of yourself rather than a copy of someone else, peace naturally follows. Some days, despite doing everything right, you will still feel low. And that's okay. Being happy every day does not mean laughing every day. It means not giving negativity a permanent address in your heart. Emotions are like visitors. Let them come, let them go. But don't let them take over the house. Push yourself to be happy by protecting your inner space. Say no to unnecessary negativity. Say yes to growth. Choose gratitude even on ordinary days, because ordinary days are the ones that build extraordinary lives. Slowly, you will realize that happiness was never waiting at the finish line. It was walking beside you, waiting for you to notice. And one day, without any dramatic moment, you will look back and smile. Not because life became perfect, but because you became peaceful. Let me begin by saying something very simple, yet very powerful. Happiness is not a reward you receive at the end of a successful life. It is the fuel that helps you live life successfully. Many people treat happiness like a destination on the map, thinking, once I reach there, I'll finally relax. But life doesn't work that way. Life keeps moving, and if you postpone happiness, you end up postponing life itself. Every day, we wake up with a choice, though we rarely notice it. The choice is not about what will happen to us, because much of that is beyond our control. The real choice is about how we will respond. Two people can face the same situation, but experience it very differently, simply because their inner attitude is different. That is why happiness is more about inner management than external arrangement. We often think that pushing ourselves means forcing productivity, chasing goals, or working harder. But sometimes pushing yourself means being kind to your own mind. It means refusing to replay negative thoughts again and again. It means reminding yourself that this phase is temporary and you are stronger than the moment you are in. When you gently push your mind in a healthier direction, it slowly learns to cooperate instead of resist. One of the biggest mistakes we make is believing that happiness should come naturally. The truth is, discipline creates freedom, even in emotions. When you discipline your thoughts, your reactions, and your habits, happiness becomes more consistent. Just like a garden needs daily care, the mind also needs regular attention. If you leave it unattended, weeds of negativity will grow automatically. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful practices to stay happy. When you focus on what you have, your mind feels abundant. When you focus on what you lack, your mind feels poor, no matter how much you actually own. Life may not give you everything you want, but it often gives you more than you acknowledge. The habit of noticing blessings changes the way you experience even ordinary days. Another important aspect is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean weakness, it means wisdom. When you stop fighting what you cannot change, you save a lot of emotional energy. That energy can then be used to improve what is within your control. Peace enters your life the moment you stop arguing with reality and start working with it. Some days will test your patience. Some nights will feel heavy. In those moments, pushing yourself to be happy does not mean pretending everything is fine. It means reminding yourself that your worth is not defined by one bad day. Feel what you feel, but don't let it define who you are. Over time, when you consistently choose better thoughts, calmer reactions, and kinder self-talk, happiness stops feeling like an effort. It becomes a natural state, not because life becomes perfect, but because you learn how to stay centered even when life is imperfect. And that truly is a sign of inner growth. Often we assume that happiness will arrive when life finally slows down, when responsibilities reduce, or when everything falls into perfect order. But life rarely offers such a pause. Instead, it keeps presenting situations that demand our attention, energy, and emotions all at once. In this constant movement, waiting for the right time to be happy becomes a silent habit, and before we realize it, days turn into years of postponed joy. Pushing yourself to be happy every day does not mean ignoring reality or denying pain. It means learning how to stand steady even when the ground feels uneven. The mind, by nature, loves to focus on what is missing, what went wrong, or what could have been better. If left unchecked, it will always find reasons to worry. That is why happiness requires conscious effort. Not effort to control life, but effort to guide the mind. Many people believe their mood is controlled by external events. If people behave well, they feel happy. If situations go their way, they feel peaceful. But the moment you hand over the remote control of your emotions to the world, you lose your inner freedom. True happiness begins when you realize that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can always choose how deeply it affects you. Small daily practices have a powerful impact on emotional strength. A moment of silence before starting the day, a few deep breaths when emotions rise, a habit of reflecting instead of reacting. These may seem simple, but they slowly rewire the mind. Just like physical fitness is built through daily exercise, mental peace is built through daily awareness. Comparison is another heavy burden that quietly drains happiness. When you constantly measure your progress against others, you forget to appreciate your own journey. Everyone walks a different path, with different struggles and different timings. The moment you stop competing and start accepting your unique pace, your mind feels lighter. Contentment does not come from having more, it comes from needing less. There will be days when, despite your best efforts, you feel low. On such days, pushing yourself to be happy does not mean forcing positivity. It means offering yourself compassion. It means saying, this is a difficult moment, but it does not define my entire life. When you treat yourself with understanding rather than judgment, emotional healing begins naturally. Happiness also grows when you learn to let go. Holding on to past mistakes, old grudges, or unfulfilled expectations keeps the mind trapped. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means choosing peace over control. The moment you loosen your grip, you create space for calmness to enter. Over time, as you continue to choose patience over panic, gratitude over complaint, and awareness over impulse, happiness stops feeling like a struggle. It becomes a quiet strength within you. Life will still have its ups and downs, but you will no longer be shaken by every wave. You will realize that happiness was never about fixing life. It was about strengthening yourself from within. Many people spend their lives searching for happiness, as if it is hidden somewhere outside them, waiting to be discovered at the right moment. They believe that once certain conditions are fulfilled, peace will naturally follow. But life keeps changing its conditions and happiness keeps getting postponed. What we often fail to realize is that happiness is not something life gives us when we succeed. It is something we cultivate within ourselves while we struggle. Every morning, the mind begins its commentary. It reminds us of unfinished tasks, unfulfilled expectations, and unresolved emotions. If we are not careful, the day starts with pressure rather than purpose. Pushing yourself to be happy does not mean silencing these thoughts forcefully. It means gently redirecting them. When you choose awareness over automatic thinking, you regain control over your inner world. One of the simplest ways to nurture happiness is by understanding the difference between needs and desires. Needs are limited, but desires are endless. The moment desires begin to dominate, satisfaction becomes rare. Contentment does not come from having everything, it comes from appreciating what is already present. When you learn to value enough, you free yourself from the constant race of wanting more. Life has a way of testing patience through people and situations. Often, we expect others to behave according to our expectations, and when they don't, disappointment arises. But peace begins the moment you accept that everyone is fighting their own unseen battles. When you stop taking everything personally, your emotional burden becomes lighter. Compassion, both for others and for yourself, is a powerful source of happiness. There are moments when things do not go as planned, despite your sincere efforts. In such moments, the mind tends to be harsh and critical. Pushing yourself to be happy then means changing the tone of your inner dialogue. Instead of asking, "What is wrong with me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Growth begins when self-judgment turns into self-reflection. Silence also plays an important role in emotional balance. In a world filled with constant noise, taking time to sit quietly helps the mind reset. Even a few minutes of stillness can bring clarity. When the mind becomes calm, happiness does not need to be chased, it naturally surfaces. Letting go of the past is another essential step. Carrying regret or resentment consumes emotional energy. Forgiveness is not about excusing what happened, it is about freeing yourself from its weight. When you release what no longer serves you, you make space for peace. Over time, happiness becomes less about external achievements and more about inner alignment. You begin to realize that true joy comes from living in harmony with your values, not from meeting everyone's expectations. Life may remain unpredictable, but your inner stability grows stronger. And in that stability, happiness quietly settles, no longer as a visitor, but as a way of being. There is a quiet misunderstanding many people carry in their hearts, that happiness is something that will arrive one day when everything finally makes sense. Until then, they tolerate stress, frustration, and dissatisfaction, hoping for a future version of life that feels lighter. But life rarely unfolds in that perfect sequence. It keeps asking us to grow while we are still confused, to stay calm while things are uncertain, and to find peace even when answers are incomplete. Pushing yourself to be happy every day is not about denying reality. It is about refusing to let reality harden your heart. The mind naturally drifts toward problems because it believes worrying will protect us. In truth, constant worrying only exhausts us. The moment you become aware of this pattern, you gain the power to interrupt it. Awareness creates a small gap, and in that gap, you can choose a calmer response. Many people believe happiness should feel effortless. But just like physical health requires regular care, emotional well-being also needs consistent attention. If you eat unhealthy food every day, your body reacts. Similarly, if you feed your mind constant negativity, comparison, and self-criticism, peace slowly fades. What you consume mentally shapes how you feel emotionally. Choosing uplifting thoughts is not pretending everything is fine. It is choosing what strengthens you. Expectations are another silent source of unhappiness. When expectations are high and acceptance is low, disappointment becomes inevitable. Acceptance does not mean giving up on improvement. It means understanding what is within your control and what is not. When you accept people and situations as they are, rather than as you want them to be, your inner resistance dissolves. With less resistance, life feels lighter. There are moments when emotions overwhelm you despite your efforts. On such days, pushing yourself to be happy does not mean forcing positivity. It means allowing yourself to feel, without judging yourself for feeling that way. Emotions lose their intensity when they are acknowledged instead of suppressed. Compassion toward yourself builds resilience far more effectively than harsh self-discipline. Gratitude quietly transforms perspective. When you pause to recognize small blessings, the mind shifts from scarcity to sufficiency. Even difficult days contain moments of grace, though they may be subtle. Training the mind to notice what is working, instead of only what is failing, creates emotional balance. Over time, this habit changes the way you experience life itself. Letting go is equally important. Holding on to past mistakes, old comparisons, or unfulfilled expectations keeps the mind trapped in what cannot be changed. Letting go does not erase memory, it releases emotional attachment. When you loosen your grip, peace naturally flows in. As days pass and you continue choosing patience over panic, understanding over reaction, and gratitude over complaint, happiness begins to feel more stable. Life may still test you, but you respond with maturity rather than resistance. Eventually, you realize that happiness was never something you had to chase. It was something that quietly grew the moment you decided to take responsibility for your inner world. So tomorrow morning, before the world tells you who to be, before your phone tells you what to feel, before your past tries to control your present, stand in front of the mirror and say, "Today I push myself to be happy, not because life is perfect, but because my peace is worth protecting." And when you do this every day, slowly, quietly, consistently, you won't just feel happier. You will become stronger, calmer, and unshakable.